What is up, you guys? I got a pretty good video for you today. Today's topic is going to be about spending and kind of what I spend my money on and how I decide what I'm going to spend my money on and how often I spend my money too on certain things. So without further ado, let's get right into this. I want to talk about, and this is probably the biggest thing that I want to discuss on this video. I want to talk about the fact that I don't buy new things every single year. I still have an iPhone 12. I don't even remember what year it came out in, but it's over 4 or 5 years old, I think, at this point, if not pretty close to it. A lot of people buy a brand new phone every year or every 2 years. And if that's part of your plan with your provider, that's cool and all, but it's not part of mine. Basically, the way my plan works is I buy a new phone when I want it. There's not a 2 year upgrade or any of that stuff. I have one of those cheaper option phone providers. I use Visible by Verizon, and it's good. It gets the job done. I really don't have any problems with connection. It works. But when I need a new phone, I gotta buy a new phone. So with that being said, I don't feel like dropping $1,000 on a new phone every single year. That adds up. That's $5,000 over 5 years. Rather than doing that, I will get a good quality phone every, I don't know, let's say on average 5 to 6 years. I still have the 12, and if my math is right, I'm running on 4 or 5 years at this point. I really just use it until it stops working or it's so slow that it's just time to upgrade. But my phone works perfectly fine. I have the 12 Pro. I like the idea of getting one of the higher models with a little bit more storage, a little bit faster phone overall, just because I feel like it lasts longer rather than the base model. That could just be me. That could be my experience. But that's what I've been doing, and that's probably what I'll continue to do in the future. If I had to guess, I'll maybe get a new phone within the next year or two. But again, if my iPhone 12 Pro is still working perfectly, I don't see why I would go ahead and get a new phone. There's just really no reason to spend the money. So I think this is a big one that a lot of people tend to do, is they just purchase the newest phone every single year, every 2 years, and I don't think it's necessarily worth it. But this is an example of how I choose not to buy new things or have the newest gadgets or the most up-to-date stuff. Unless it's something I really need and it's time for me to get something new, then I'll buy it, and I don't mind spending a little bit of money on it because I like to pay for quality rather than buying lower quantity every single year. Another example, I have a sedan with about 100,000 miles on it. I bought it in 2018. I actually leased it and ended up buying it out. And that was around just after COVID. So it made sense for me to go ahead and buy out that lease. I think I bought the car or my buyout price was like $5,000 less than the market value at the time. So it made sense to definitely buy it out. And then if I wanted to sell it or keep it, I decided to keep it. And it's great. It runs well, knock on wood. Haven't had really any troubles other than, routine maintenance and all that kind of stuff. So knock on wood, very happy with that. But again, another thing people like to do is purchase new cars every year or 2 or 3 years. They'll buy it and then they'll sell it and trade it in to get something newer. And it just gets a little bit messy. And if you're in negative equity on your car versus the loan, it can rack up debt. It gets messy, all that different stuff. It's just too complicated for me. And quite frankly, I don't think the stress of having to buy and sell a new car every year or two is worth having the new car. If you really want to do that and you can afford it, leasing a car is probably your best bet because every 2 to 3 years you can just get a new one. You don't own the car. You don't have any equity in it, but if that's your thing, that you want the newest car every 2 years, maybe a lease is the route you should go. So again, just another example of not buying the newest thing every single year. I just feel like my money can be spent and used elsewhere in a more productive fashion. So that's what I choose to do. Another example, when I moved out of my parents' place earlier on this year, I moved into an apartment. I brought with me a desk that I use now to make these videos, search on the internet, play Xbox, all that kind of stuff. So I brought my desk down with me, and I brought a bed with me, and I brought furniture that my parents were getting ready to throw out. So really all I had to buy, and I brought an old dresser too. So all I really had to buy was a little table to eat on and then a couple other really small pieces of furniture. Now, if I wanted to, I could have moved and bought a new bed, a new dresser, a new desk, something a little newer, more sleek. I could have done that. I could have designed my new apartment the way I would have really liked to and made it look nice and aesthetically pleasing and sort of my vibe, if you will. But I didn't want to spend thousands of dollars doing that between a couch and a desk and a bed and dressers and all this other stuff. It adds up. It's unnecessary expenses. So rather than spending thousands of dollars on all that, I just decided to take what I had, work with whatever I could, and I spent a lot less than thousands of dollars furnishing my apartment. Again, if I had to guess on how much I spent furnishing my apartment, it had to be under $1,000, and that's including all stuff like silverware, all that kind of stuff too. Like I basically had to furnish an entire apartment. I didn't have any of that stuff because I was really living with my parents up until the point I moved. So whatever they offered me to take, I pretty much took, and then I, purchased what else I needed, and I did it all under $1,000. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but if I had to guess, I would say it was under $1,000. So again, a lot cheaper than buying all new stuff and spending $3 to $4,000 to furnish an apartment. So again, just another example of not buying the newest things all the time. And while it is a bit of a sacrifice and it might not be exactly what you want, it saves you money in the long run. And if you practice this habit throughout a lot of different aspects of your life, it's going to add up and save you a bunch of money. So at the end of the day, I like to buy quality things, but at the same time, I will use what I have if it gets the job done. I'm willing to sacrifice the way something looks, or maybe even the way something feels. Like maybe it's not the most comfortable couch, but it works, it gets the job done, and it saves me $1,000. I'm willing to make those kind of sacrifices. But then there's things that I will spend money on. Like, for example, as I mentioned earlier, the phone. I'm willing to pay for a little more of an expensive phone because it's going to last me longer. I also really enjoy riding my bike. It's something that I like to do when I have free time. It's exercise. I enjoy it. I bought the bike 3 to 4 years ago. It was, I like to think, kind of expensive. It wasn't crazy expensive. I'm not talking about thousands, but it wasn't a couple $100 bike, you know what I mean? And I was willing to spend more money on that because I wanted something that is of high quality, that's going to last me a long time, and it's providing value to my life. So I think those are sort of my rules. Is if I really want something, I'm going to get it for myself, and I'll purchase it. I'll purchase a higher quality of whatever it is I'm looking for rather than lower quality. But again, I'll make those sacrifices in other aspects of my life that I feel like can save me a little bit of money, that allow me to go ahead and spend money when I want to. So that's really all I got for you guys today. Just kind of wanted to talk about some of my spending habits and how I really spend my money, what my thought process is when I'm buying something new, especially a bigger purchase. And at the end of the day, I always ask myself, would I rather buy this thing or would I rather invest this money in the stock market? And that really helps me determine if I genuinely want or need something, rather than I'm just bored or I want to spend some money or whatever the case may be. It's just something that I want rather than I really want or that I really need. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. I appreciate you checking in as always. If you're new here, I post every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern time, I talk about all kinds of things: personal finance, life experiences, really just anything I feel like talking about. I throw it over some gameplay for you guys, hoping you can kind of connect with it, learn something from it, or, just at the very minimum, know that someone else is going through some things that you might be going through or some of the same struggles. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.